Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Reel Maine Fishing. What we're going to be doing today is building what I found on YouTube to be called the Brandon box. We're going to be building an extension of this tote sled so that I can pile more stuff in it, because it's a lot cheaper than buying a larger tote sled at the price of about 500 bucks. So we're just using 5/8 plywood, and I will explain everything as I go. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to cut 4 strips of wood out of this. I think I'm going to be able to actually cut 3 lengthwise and then use the end piece as the 4th wall. So I'll measure this out. We'll get the lines with our chalk line here. My wife will help me with that, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we got our lines, we got our front, our back piece, and then I snapped some chalk lines for both of our side pieces. It's going to give us 16 inches extra of height, and I'm going to take the circular saw and we'll cut it out now. So now that we got our walls cut, what we're going to have to do next is we're going to have to scribe in the actual boards so that they match the contours of the side of the sled. See how they dip down right here and then they dip back up again? If you were to just put the wood on top, you're going to have a gap, and I don't want this gap. So what I'm going to have to do is scribe in this whole side and cut it with a jigsaw so that even this gap right here, so that everything is just nice and flush. So what I'll have my wife do, I'll have her hold up the side here on the side. I'll have her hold the board up on the side, and I'll go along the inside with a pencil and I'll scribe everything in. So what we're going to do now is the width of these is just a little too wide, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to narrow them down, because when you put these on the inside right here, they shallow it up just a little bit. So I got to make up for this difference right here. So we're just going to cut a little bit off these, and then we're going to actually finish building the box so that we can set it on there and tie it all in. The next step, what we need to do is we need to tie all these 4 pieces together with internal corner supports. So what I'm going to use for those is I got a 2x4 here, and all I'm doing is I'm just measuring how high up the corners are, and then I'm going to take this, I'm going to rip it right down the middle so that I have 2 pieces, and that way it doesn't look weird on the inside. I'll have actually 2 square pieces for each corner support. So I'm going to cut up those corner supports, and once I do that, we'll be able to start screwing this thing together. Alright, so next what we're going to do is we're going to put a trim piece around the outside edge so that the cover has something to grip and it doesn't just fly off when we're towing it down the trail. After that, we'll anchor it to the tote sled. I'll show you how we're going to do that when that comes time. Other than that, we're getting close. We're getting real close. Now it's time to paint it. I got a black exterior paint so it can hold up probably about 40 bucks for the whole gallon. I know I don't need a whole gallon, but I usually like to do more than one coat on things. So I'm gonna paint this and then we'll be back The next part of the project is we actually have to secure the Brandon box to the tote sled itself. So to make things as small as I possibly can, we're going to use some flat stock, just some basic steel. I will cut it with a cutting wheel, and I'll build little, probably 2 to 3 inch slats, and I will connect them from the tote sled to the Brandon box. Probably 1 here, 1 down there, and 2 on this side, and that'll keep it from going front to back once I tighten it down. Next thing we're doing, we're going to drill holes through the brackets. I just have cutting oil here. Cutting oil always makes drilling through steel so much easier. It's easier on your drill bits, so your drill bits last longer, and it's just easier on you because you don't have to press so hard to get everything to work. So all I'm using for this, once I get my holes drilled, I'm just using zinc coated. I'm not doing grade 8 stainless steel or anything like that, because there's not going to be a ton of stress on the top of this thing. But I'm just using a 1 inch by 3/4 inch hex bolt. Like I said, zinc coated, strong enough for the task, and it'll work out good. Right now I'm just putting the top ones in because I don't want to anchor anything down until everything is perfectly aligned. All right, everybody. So we got the basic build completed. I ended up going with 6 brackets instead of 4. It just seemed to work a lot better. It made me feel more comfortable about it being attached to the tote sled. Like I said, that's the end of the basic build. I am going to do some extras, so stay with me. If you're interested in doing any extras with it, I'm going to do an auger mount on the side. Might integrate some electricity into it with my M18 batteries. I did the basic little, just a cool little bottle opener on the side here. It seemed kind of handy. And since this is so high, I put some reflectors in the back because this might actually hide my taillight lens. I'm not quite sure yet, especially if I have another person on the back. The taillight lens might just be a little bit difficult to see for the people behind me. So safety first as always. And again, stay tuned for any extras that I'm going to be putting on this thing. We are going to make an auger mount tonight for the Ion. We are going to be making a holder for this, my baby. We're going to be making it with 3/4 inch square stock. What I've done, as you can see on here, I actually went through and I marked basically my template for the auger mount holder. It's going to go on the side right here. I'm going to have a triangular section. It's going to come up, it's going to build out, and the holder is going to go right here. I'm going to make sure that the holder is far out enough so that it doesn't bump up against this while I'm driving with it. And I'm also going to make sure that it is high enough so that while I'm standing, I don't have to bend way down to grab it. I just want to be able to grab it, drill my holes, set it back in, and go. I don't know if this is going to be something that I can drive down the trail with. We don't know that. But definitely by the time I get to the lake, I want the auger to be on the outside, because if I'm on my GPS and I'm looking and I see a good spot that I want to fish, I want to be able to just take the auger off, drill a hole, set it back down. I don't want it in my tote sled with all my other things. So stay tuned. So there's the auger right there. I've gotten the brackets welded up. This is a finished one. I don't claim to be the best welder. That's why this isn't an instructional video on how to weld. But I can do things and I can make it stick. So these are going to work fine. This one still has to be painted. I just finished this one, just grinded it down. It's ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mount it onto the tote sled itself. I'm going to put one here, one over there, and we'll get it all mounted up. Once it's mounted up, I'll show you guys how I'm actually going to tie it onto the mounts. The actual auger itself should fit right in between these things. This one's going to go on the back, and then this one I spaced specifically for the front. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I got the bolts on. Everything's mounted up. Everything's painted, finished. I can't tell you how stoked I am about this. It fits so good. Like, so good. It looks awesome. It's not top heavy. It's more than I could have imagined. I'm really excited about this, guys. Look at this. So everything just lined up perfect. Right where I needed this to be, right where I needed this to be, it pops in and out of there so smooth. It locks into it because the depth of this, everything is just like so perfect. But right over here, it like literally locks in. I'm so pumped. It looks awesome. It's gonna be super functional. I've got 3 points of connection on that, so it can't wobble like this. It can't wobble in any direction. The bolts go all the way through. I think I might even cut those off flush so that I don't have to deal with that anymore. But the fact that this auger is no longer in my tote sled anymore is amazing. It's up off the ground high enough so that if I'm dragging it through powder, it's not going to be dragged through anything. I'm super pumped about this. Super pumped. I think I'm going to do one more thing to the sled. I think I'm going to integrate some LEDs, but we'll see how far I can get on that tonight, if I do that at all. But that is the basic thing that I wanted to do with this Brandon box. Really happy with it. I'm stoked with it. I'm super pumped. Fish on. I am ready to go. We got a big derby this weekend. I can't wait. Okay, so I did get the last thing done. After the auger was fully mounted, I wanted to integrate some LED lights into the sled. I was able to do that. I ended up going with ground effect lights just because I had them kicking around in the garage and I think it looks cool. So it'll definitely turn some heads when I drag this thing out on the ice. So basically, here's how it works. You take an M18 battery, and you have this little thing right there that accepts an M18 battery. The wiring I haven't touched up yet just because it's getting late, but here's how it works. Turn off the lights. Snap it in. And it's all lit up around you. Pretty cool. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did building it. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. I'll get back to them as soon as I can. If you did enjoy the video, please like and subscribe. Again, this is Derek from Reel Maine Fishing, and I'll see you outside.